What I want to talk to you guys about today is like how you go from 10K per month to 100K per month. I know these numbers might sound a little like astronomical, a little absurd right now, but it's definitely possible. And I just want to show you the path to getting there. Some of you guys may have already reached 10K a month. Some of you guys are just getting started on your path to getting to 10K a month. But I just want to show you like what's in your future and what's possible so that you kind of know what to expect. So getting from 10K to 100K per month. It is 10 times the amount of money that you would be making per month, but it doesn't need to be 10 times as difficult. There's a belief, right? It's all about your belief first. I know this sounds woo-woo and crazy and like, oh, cool, believe things, but it's so true. Would you get into a car right now if you knew you wouldn't make it home? No. Right? So we are assuming things. When we jump in a car, we assume that we're going to drive home and then we're going to make it home. That's an assumption. We don't know that for sure, do we? It's a complete assumption. And so our assumption, a lot of times, or at least what they've instilled into us through school, is that 100K a month is like impossible. 10K a month is already like absurd. But the first thing you have to wrap your mind around is the fact that this is possible. And everything is an assumption. Whether you believe you can do it or whether you believe you can't do it, it is an assumption. So there's empowering assumptions and there's disempowering ones. If you don't believe that you can make 100K a month, would you ever do the things to potentially get to 100K a month? Probably not, right? So that's the first thing you have to remove, is that the belief that 100K a month is impossible for you. Because if you believe it's impossible, you're never going to take the actions that you want to take towards, or you need to take to be able to achieve that. So I want you to instill this belief instead. Suspend all your disbelief about making 100K a month and it being difficult, and believe this. And I'll tell you this is true. And I know this sounds absurd coming from somebody who's like, you're like, well, it's easy for you to say, right? But it's only for me to say because I had this belief that it's easier to make more money faster than it is to make less money slower. Think about how hard it is to make money slower. You trade your time for a little bit of money. You have to give a lot of that money to your bills. You have to get up early in the morning. You have to show up constantly. And then you're angry because you don't make enough for the effort that you put in. Have you ever worked a job and all the employees, all your coworkers are constantly complaining about, oh man, we just don't make enough. We don't get paid enough for this. Have you guys ever felt that way? Right? It's the same thing with me when I worked a job. We're always usually overworked and underpaid. And so in our brains, we assume that we have to spend more time and work harder to make more money. But that's not true. The belief you should instill is that it's easier to make more money faster than it is to make money slower. It's a completely different game. You don't need to add more time to be able to make more money. What you should do, if you have a business and you teach other people, this is what you could do, or if you have any clients at all, you want to increase the probability of success, meaning that you remove more risk, you remove anything that is going to likely keep them from getting to that success. So you want to make the path easier. And you usually make the path easier by removing things that are unnecessary. And then you want to increase the speed to success. Amazon does so well because you get your package in hours. You get your package in 2 days. If it took 2 weeks, would it be as valuable? No. If you had hired somebody to help you lose 20 pounds, let's say there's 2 coaches. One of them was like, I can help you lose this 20 pounds, but it's going to take about a year. And then another coach said, I can help you lose that same 20 pounds and it's going to take about 2 months. Which one is more valuable? The second one, because it happens faster. If you jumped on a commercial airline and they had to stop off, let's say you were headed to Texas, they had to stop off in Seattle. They had to stop off in Georgia for whatever reason, make their way around, and then they got to Texas and it took you all day. Is that more valuable or buying a private jet and flying straight there? Second one. And that's because of speed. If you can condense and compress the time it takes to get to success or a result, it increases the value. And that's the third thing, is like increase the value of the success. So if you could help make somebody 10K a month, that's valuable. But what if you could help them make 20K a month? What if you could help them make 30K a month? Let's put this in musical terms. If you could help somebody get to the point where they're reading music that's valuable. If you can get them to the point where they can read and play it, that's valuable. If you can get them to improvise, that's even more valuable. So you increase the value of the success that you bring to the client. You increase the probability, you increase how fast it takes, and then the thing you want to decrease is the work or the effort it takes from them. So if you take on more burden, it makes it more valuable to them because they have to do less. I don't know, there's different models. There's done with you, which is coaching, which is what you guys do. And then there's done for you. Done for you usually costs more because those are like agencies. Oh, I'll run the ads for you. I'll get you clients. If you teach somebody how to do something, it takes more effort on their end. So usually you can't charge as much for it. If you do it for them, you can charge a lot more. But again, you hit a constraint of time, which is why I like done for you and coaching, because it's a happy medium where you don't need to trade all your time. You can still get them the results. You can still charge a lot of money, but doing things for you, like imagine if you had to do what you're going to give them for them. That's hard, right? And you can only take on so many clients. But those are the 4 things that you should focus on if you want to increase your value. And none of these work unless you make it easy to understand. And this is where a lot of people fall apart, is they make it too complicated because they want to sound smart instead of making it easy to understand. So focus on helping them see that the cost of not doing or having your solution costs much more. So the cost of inaction. This is what's going to tip over a lot of marketing or a lot of people over the fence to actually buy from you, is when you can show them they're always making a decision. They either make the decision to move forward with you and have your solution, or they're making the decision to change nothing and stay the same. They will always buy when they truly, truly understand that doing nothing and staying where they're at costs more than paying you for your solution 100% of the time. If I offered you $1 for 10 cents, would you ever say no? If I offered you $100,000 for $10,000, it's the same thing with more zeros. There just has to be this discrepancy in this ratio. And if they can see that every single time, they're going to pull the trigger. It's never a money thing. It's an increase in value. Because if you decrease money, there's a floor. If you increase value, there's no ceiling. You can always add more, but you can only take away so much. The easiest and biggest changes you can make right now, the first one is raising your prices. And this is the first and major thing that you guys should do if you want to get from 10K to 100K. You do the things I said and increase your value, and that's where you can raise your price. Because if you, again, you just add zeros. If you offer $10 worth of value and you charge $1, it's a no-brainer. If you offer $100 worth of value and ask for $10, it's a no-brainer. 1,000, 100, no-brainer. 100,000, 10,000, no-brainer. $1 million worth of value and you ask for 100,000, it's still a no-brainer. Do you see that there's a massive discrepancy because it's 10 times as valuable as what you ask for? That means that you have a lot more wiggle room to how much you can charge. Because if I told you you could make $1 million and I charged 10,000, you'd say yes. If I said 12,000, does it really change much? It's still a massive gain for them. If I said 20,000, still a massive gain. If I said 25,000, if I said 50,000, if I said, you know what I mean? I can keep going with this. Do you see how much flexibility you have when you constantly learn how to add more value to your market? So add more value by changing the things I had just mentioned, and then raise your price. That's going to be the quickest way for you to be able to get to $100,000 a month. The second thing is get more attention. I know this is the tough part, right? Is the marketing, getting more attention. And we always are wondering, well, if I had the money, I'd be able to get more attention. But that's the thing, is the attention has to come first before the money. And so this is the part where people see it as a risk. And it is a risk. But again, if you don't take the risk, it costs more to stay in the same situation that you're in. And I tell you guys this all the time, when you get more attention, right? There's a couple ways to get attention. You can do it organically, or you can pay for attention. And if you need to get more attention, what are the 2 things you can do? Put yourself out there more, or spend more to get more attention. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, to be like, oh man, I only have so much money in the bank. I'm maxed out. How do I spend more? It is your way out of being stuck. Every time that I've been scared and decreased my ad spend, guess what happened to the amount of money I made? I made less. I've always made less. If you can crack a code where you can multiply the money that you put in, which is exactly what I showed you guys, you want to spend more because then your top line, your revenue, money in will also multiply. Math doesn't change, right? If you spend $2 and get 10, that makes sense. If you spend 200 and get 10,000, whatever, right? It all makes sense. So you just have to spend more by getting more attention. Next thing is removing all time dependencies. I show you guys a lot in this program how to build out the structure to save yourself from having to trade time for money. But you want to remove all time dependencies as much as you can. And the fourth thing is increase the likelihood of sign up. And this is, again, all the things that we talked about earlier. Increasing the value, increasing the speed, increasing the probability. Because if you can increase all those and you can make it extremely easy to understand, they're going to buy, and that's going to increase the likelihood of your sign up. Next thing is replace yourself from the front line. What's the closest activities to the line of cash that takes the most of your time? And this is usually sales, because the easiest way to measure success in business, whether you like it or not, is money, right? You guys can say money is the root of all evil. You still need it. And try not making money. It's not as fun, right? So replace yourself from the front line. And what are the closest activities to cash? It's usually sales. And so this can look something like appointments, booking the appointments, and then closing the appointments. So as soon as you have enough attention, what you want to do is replace yourself by getting someone to book appointments, getting an appointment setter, putting them in place so that all they're doing for 8 hours is booking you appointments. I guarantee you they're going to be able to put more effort than you are when your attention is split doing 8 different things as the CEO. And then the next thing you'll want to do after closing is probably the most leveraged thing you can do up until it's not. And then you'll want to replace yourself, and then you'll want to multiply yourself. Because if you're the only person closing and you close at a 50%, but you hire somebody that closes at 30%, that's a decrease. But what if you had 4 of those people closing at 30%? You can't multiply yourself. And so at one point, you're going to have to replace yourself. And the closest line to cash and what takes most of your time is where you want to start, is systematizing those. So trading your time for money means that you're working harder and longer to make more. People don't get rich because there's such a low limit. Everyone has 24 hours a day. I'm looking at Jacqueline, I'm looking at Blair, I'm looking at Addie. Do you guys have 25 hours a day? Not a single one of us does. Have you ever walked outside and found like 1 second on the ground and like picked it up and was like, well, I'm going to put this in my pocket? It doesn't happen, right? There's a limit. And so people can't get rich that way. What you want to do is reverse engineer your process. Find the activities in your business where you get the most from the least effort. Systematize those things and remove yourself from doing it. As soon as there's a system in place, you know that there's not going to be as many chances for it to break. Human errors, things like this, you know what I mean? You run out of time, you have to go on vacation, you have to go to the hospital, you can't put in the work. Systematize it somehow. Remove yourself from it. And you always have in mind that in business, your North Star is money. Okay? It's money. It's the easiest way to measure the success of your business. It's the easiest way to stop doing the things you hate doing and do the things you love doing. If this is your North Star, get rid of the belief that money is evil. I don't know if you guys have it, but if you do, I guarantee you it's not benefiting you in any way. So just remove it. Hope this was helpful. Share this with somebody that you feel like needs to see this, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.